Boom goes the dynamite. Woo, what an exciting week. We survived a hell of an election yesterday. Some surprises, some not surprises. I'm batting about 794, I think, when I did the math on it. We'll talk about that. President Trump's being racist, I guess. Again, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny, but you know me. I'm an asshole that way. So anyway, we're Almost Agreement. AlmostAgreement@gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to our website, AlmostAgreement.com. Check out what we got going on there. Go to your favorite podcast provider. Like, friend, share, follow. Text it to your friends. Hollerboo 24 is upon us, so register today. There's an early bird special for vendors if you want to get signed up and save some money. So go ahead and do that if you can. We're Almost Agreement, and we're going to start a show. Hi, Fran.
Hey.
How you do?
I be.
What's new and exciting with you?
Oh, not that new.
All right, we did the show, everybody. That's it. We'll talk to y'all later. Anyway, yeah, so we had elections yesterday, and it's a pretty big deal.
Conclusion of primary elections.
No, we had a general election yesterday. The conclusion of an election. We have new people that have been elected to office. You've only been doing this show for how long?
I thought some of these were just the primary. I'm sorry.
Some of these were.
Okay. Pardon. So we were both right. Don't try and make me look like I was completely wrong.
You are completely wrong.
Partially wrong.
Completely wrong.
Were there primaries?
There were some primaries, yes.
Okay. So were there elections that were decided?
There were elections that were decided.
Okay. So were we both right?
You're the one that said it like the elections were done, and that was that. I don't like wrong, but you're right. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
No, I was saying they're not over.
Some aren't.
Okay.
Some are.
Some are.
Of the totality of the ballot, which...
Can't we both be right?
I don't know. Not really. I've got to argue about something. But a couple of surprises. My District 4 County Commission race, the one and only Democrat flipped a seat. We got a new third Democrat on County Commission now in Shane Jackson, who I did end up voting for, partially because I wanted that. I just wanted...
You were that guy.
I was that guy.
You were that guy that swung it. It was one vote off.
It was pretty. I mean, it was pretty close.
Yeah, I did see that.
I mean, I can pull it. We got it pulled up for references. County Commission. Where are you at? District 2, District 4, County General. It was 52-29 to 53-99. So it was 170 votes different. I mean, let's be real here, people. 10,732 total votes.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many people are registered in the district, but it's more than 10,000 by a goodly sum. I want to say it's like 33,000. So I think the county average is now down to 19%. Congratulations, Tennesseans. We are the worst voter participation state in the nation. Not only are we the worst in the nation, we're 51st.
Did Puerto Rico beat us again?
No, not Puerto Rico. D.C. D.C. counted.
Oh, okay.
We're 51st in the nation in voter participation.
As of...
this was a couple months. This was the last presidential cycle, I believe.
Okay.
So it's
some pretty old facts at this point.
Well, our turnout was worse in this election compared to the one that they did this on 4 years ago. So I'm guessing we're working hard to keep our place at the bottom of that list.
Very possible.
I mean, hell, I think total, like of the big the handful of county-wide races, you got, I think, 50-ish.
That's because people are still out of town.
I don't know, like the Buddy Burkhart in the post in their post-election party thing was made reference to voter fatigue because this is our third election and we have one more before the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't see the fatigue.
Well, what I find interesting about that is I could get behind the argument. Fine, okay, maybe, I don't know, but just for the sake of conversation, okay, maybe yeah, trying to keep up with everything constantly all the time. When we already have 2026 mayoral candidates that have put their name in and are starting to poke around and do that process. We already have 2025 city elections getting started and talked about and that kind of stuff, and we're still not technically done with the 2024 election cycle. And so it's like nonstop. We have an election. We have people running and candidates talking about running and blah, 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 blah. I could see that kind of argument as saying, like, maybe if we just had, I don't know, we rolled back everything to the November general and then we only had a August primary and a November general and skipped all this weird shift up that the county does, other than the presidential primary having to be on Super Tuesday. We could at least cut one election out of the cycle, streamline a little bit, make it a bigger ballot, but less of them a year. But then, like, one of the arguments in the city thing, in the city talking about moving their elections around with the new law and the city districting thing, one of the things that there is like, well, Mr. District 5, whoever District 5 is trying to get the District 5 race moved to go with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 race so that all his District 5 voters get to vote every year. And it's like, well, if on one hand we're saying there's too much voting and that's what's wearing people out, and on the other hand people are being like, well, people want to make sure they can vote all the time, it seems a little bit incongruous. Now, obviously they're not the same person before you get there, but it's just there's no real camp of consistency on which one matters or what actually turns people out to vote. But like even in like the statewide or the city or the full county races of like where is it? County Cushionville. Give me this. The law director, countywide, 56,700. Excuse me. Which my favorite guy, Buch, kept his fucking seat. That douche canoe.
Yeah, it was semi-close.
Yeah, and it was against Jackson Fennerer, who he ran against last time, and it's closer than it was last time. So the Democrats are very happy with the results. The Republicans are a little peeved.
When's the next time he's going to be up for election?
Big.
Big.
It's a 4-year cycle.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be Jackson Fennerer running against him again. Because I think last time around it was like a 60-40. This time it's a 55-45. They do it one more time, we might get a 50-50. It might be a super tight race. I think I have to eat some crow here. If I'm honest, is I think my take on District 4 is not moving left. I am wrong because now with the Democrat winning both school board seat 2 years ago and now county commission this year, I have to acknowledge the facts that at least electorally, County District 4 is starting to vote more blue. We could argue about candidate quality and stuff like that the Republicans have put up. I think Edwards in the school board race was bad. I think Garrett was okay. But Garrett didn't have the apparatus. It was kind of Garrett on his own. The Republicans didn't really like him, so they didn't really support him much.
I would say look at the numbers of Republicans that showed up for that race in the previous, but
I mean, that's a hard deep dive.
Take a little digging, yeah.
Well, one of the things to look at, too, is, like I said, we had about 57,000-ish turnout countywide. 33,000.
It's early.
No, 33,000 voted in the Republican primary.
Oh.
I mean, it's not exact. Like, you can kind of cheat. If you go back up and look at Gloria got like 22,000 votes for her primary, and Marcia got like 33,000 votes for her primary.
Okay.
And so it's a 60-40 split countywide on Democrat and Republican primary polls, which doesn't necessarily mean, but I think it's likely that in November we'll have a little bit more turnout, but I think it'll still be a 60-40 Marcia in Knox County, which means Marcia wins the state like 70-30.
I remember looking at the numbers for that, and Marcia had a good bit of numbers, Probably. I don't know if she. No, I think she may have ran against one other person.
What, last time?
This time.
Yeah, Trace something or other. He's on here. Trace Whittam.
But I remember looking at her total numbers versus Gloria's total numbers, or even Gloria's numbers, and the other Democratic candidates.
Right. Total votes in for the Senate race Republican was 31,128. 27,5 of those was Marcia. Now, I would assume that Mr. Whittam is probably a more moderate Republican, because I don't know if you could get more right than Marcia. I don't know how you could run against Marcia from the right. I'm sure it's possible, but I'm guessing that's not who this character was. But it's still probably safe to say that the Whittam voters will probably mostly fall in line and go to Marcia on the other side. So anyway, point being 30.
Safe to say that she made sure that this guy has no political future.
Sure. But so 30. So she's right at 30,000 votes, where we roll down real quick and find this four-way race. And Gloria got 21 of 24,000.
Yeah.
So it's it's not crazy. I mean, it's 6,000 votes, which is certainly not a big deal to get out. If Gloria could get them out in Knox County at least, but where Gloria's screwed is in the Andersons and Unions and Grangers and Franklin County, all the outer counties around Nashville, but not Nashville. She'll kill Nashville. She'll win Nashville's. She'll probably win Nashville. She'll win Memphis. But when Knoxville is your third largest metropolitan area and your third most densely Democratic area, which it's not very densely Democratic, but it is the third most in the state as far as concentration of Democrats, and you're losing 60-40, it doesn't look good. But maybe she can activate, and maybe with the Harris campaign, as it gets rolling, it activates more. Because I think one of the things to take away, too, and this is kind of a topic shift, is you go over to school board, too, with my friend Jennifer Owen, who got beat pretty bad. I really, really, really would argue that had Jennifer Owen run as a Democrat, she would have won that race. But she ran as an independent, and people just going down ballot Ds. I asked Scott about it earlier, and it's something you can dig into if you have the time and energy and patience, because you have to go like precinct by precinct. But you could pull the data on how many people in County Commission District 2 pulled the Democratic primary, and I'll bet you it's close to 1-to-1 of people who pulled the Democratic primary and voted for every D on the rest of the ticket.
Possible.
And just overlook the fact that Jennifer Owen is a Democrat, but she hates the idea of partisan school board stuff, so she runs as an independent. Right. And so she got beat because of her insistence on trying to keep partisanship out of school board, which I think is unfortunate. Certainly not specifically surprising, but unfortunate. I think it's a bummer. I was really hopeful for her just to think there was some hope that people actually paid attention to candidates and not parties.
So practically speaking, how if someone went into a polling place and wanted to vote for her?
A general, she's on the general. Everybody that went and voted gets the general. It's whether you pick the Democrat or Republican primary.
Okay. So she was still on the general.
Yeah. So the way it worked out is the first, mine was one page front and back. Basically, the front page was Republican primary because I pulled the Republican ballot. Nobody called me out on it. Got away with it again. Breaking the law. The Republican primary was one side, and then you flipped it over, and it was the county general. And so for me, that was I got to vote for the Becky Massey Monica Irvine race, which is really the only reason I pulled the Republican primary, so I could vote for Becky, because you had Tim. Tim had no challenger. Marcia did have this Trace guy, which I did vote for the Trace guy because I hate Marcia. Elaine Davis was on there with no challenger, so I wrote myself in on the Elaine Davis. And then that was it. And then I flipped it over, and I had the Jackson Holt race, the municipal judge race, retain 2 judges, which I said, no, replace them. I will always replace judges. That's always my vote for that. Then there's one more on there that I'm not thinking of. Oh, law director and assessor. And so if you pulled the Democratic primary in District 2 voting for Jennifer Owen, you would have gotten the the federal Senate race with Gloria on it, and then you would have gotten like, I don't know, because that's probably District 90 in the state house, which is also Gloria unopposed, and there is no Republican on that side of the ticket either, which is a whole kind of funnyism.
But looking at her race on a ballot, would she have been on there with? Would she have been, I guess, listed on the Republican and Democratic ballot, just as an independent?
No,
as a candidate for that race.
I think the way to look at it is it's 2 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots. Everybody got a primary ballot and a general ballot. They just happen to be printed on the same piece of paper.
Right.
And so you had the primary one, which was only these state and federal primaries. And then when you get to the general on it, the general would be whoever won the Republican primary, whoever won the Democratic primary, and then any independents. Because you can have, if you run as an independent, there can be 6 independents on a ticket. And you could have 8 people on a ballot for 1 seat. You'd only have 1 Republican and 1 Democrat, but then you'd have a bunch of independents. And because of the way the fucking bullshit rules are, the Democrat and the Republican would be listed on top regardless of alphabetical isms. It would be Democrat, Republican, and then alphabetical by independent candidate.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I don't think it was alphabetical either. Amanda Collins, Dasha. Sam McKenzie beat the crap out of Dasha. Not surprised with that one.
I don't think it was that much of a truncheon.
62-37.
Okay.
25 points is a lot.
Yeah. I didn't think they were in the same.
Huh?
Well, I thought Dacia was county.
She was county. She is currently county commission.
Okay.
But she opted not to run for. She opted not to run for her incumbent seat, and to run for the state seat against Sam McKenzie, which was very ill-advised.
So Matt Park lost.
Yeah, but a real close one. Like 170 votes, what was it? It was very close. Let me pull it up real quick. Andy Fox 3405, Park 3185 with 252 to the independent guy. I don't know. I think that the Stacey Bryant Smith 252 votes, he probably knew every single one of those people personally. And that's kind of was his joke. He made that joke a few times in talking to people.
Really?
I am kind of disappointed because I think, they tried to get him kicked off the ballot, and I expected a little bit of backfire. Maybe there was a little bit of backfire because District 9 is not Democrat friendly traditionally. District 9 has been District 9 is one of the most consistently Republican districts in the county, because all that's once you get out of South Knoxville, once you get past Moody. Not Booty. What's the firehouse down? There's that fire station down there.
Yeah.
Once you get past the commercial part where Chapman Highway stops being commercial and it gets more rural, that is super red down there. The only bit that you can pull up precinct maps. If you look at the precinct maps, the polling place that's at that school that's right off of Moody is going to be blue, but everything else in District 9 is red traditionally. And so the fact that Matthew Park got that close is a big deal. That's one of the ones the Republicans were complaining about at their celebration party. They're like, we lost District 4.
I wonder how close his previous race was.
He ran for a different seat last time. He was not running for that.
Oh, okay.
I think he was running for an at-large seat last time. I had him on the show back then. He's fun. He's a super, exciting, hip dude. All skydiving and flying airplanes and shit.
Nice.
But so what I'm trying to find right now, and I wish it's one of those. If I was better at my job, I'd take notes and shit. We talked about it on here. You had all these school choice pro voucher groups, whatever you want to call them, and Tennessee Lookout did an article about it a couple days ago. On the Wednesday, they released this article by Adam Friedman. Pro school voucher groups spending tops $4.5 million in Republican primaries. And he put together a nice little graphic on how much was totally spent by these different voucher charter school PACs on these different candidates.
Yeah.
And the question I have in reading it, and the question I have that I'd like to know the answer to, is like, of these people that they're supporting, because it's the candidate to boost. So, but a lot of their ads were the ones that, this guy loves illegal aliens, this guy let them use our benefits, this guy did this guy did that. That's a lot of what their ads actually did. And so, like, I don't know whom among these have won their seats, because I think that's the more interesting political look to see how the voucher and some of the other more inciting conservative issues are going to go this coming session.
Yeah, but I also don't know if you can't accredit a candidate winning specifically because of either this campaign or
no, that's not what I'm
just
saying.
that idea.
Right. But if these are the candidates they're pushing, it's likely that these candidates are likely to be supportive of some of the things that they want them to be supportive of, and this is Governor Lee's last shot to protect civil rights by making vouchers a reality, right? I'm
Sure.
I mean, I'm not making shit up here.
I know that's what he says.
I'm
yes.
quoting the man, and so all indications say that he intends to bring it back again, even though it got struck down last session. Well, there are new players in this session, and there are people with serious money, $4.5 million worth of it, trying to get certain players to the table to help get Governor Lee's vision across the line. And so the question I have in looking at results is how many of these races won on these candidates that were supported by, or more importantly, were not attacked by, because like it's pretty obvious what they're doing. Most of these are more rural counties. Franklin, Lee Reeves in Franklin District 65, Aaron Marbury in District 68 in Clarksville, Jesse Seal in Senate District 8, which is parts of Claiborne, Granger, Hancock, Jefferson, Sevier, and Union counties. What's similar so far about these counties we're referencing? Jason Emmert in Maryville, Tom Hatcher in Blunt, Monroe, Polk, and part of Bradley County, John Lundberg in Senate District 4, Hawkins and Sullivan, Ray Jeter in Columbia, Farrell Haley in Sumner and Townsend. What's the underlying thread here in these counties?
Heather Stacia.
Yeah, there she is, Knoxville. So outside of a couple of these,
Rural counties.
most of them are rural counties. And so these attack ads make sense that they would probably land in more rural counties.
But how many rural people got social media that they see these things?
These ads, most of the places I've seen these ads were not on social media.
Right.
Most of it's while I'm trying to watch the Olympics or Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, which them rural folks are watching at least Wheel. They might not be watching Jeopardy because that might make them feel dumb.
I don't know. Vanna's only on there for so much longer.
Yeah, we got Ryan Seacrest coming in. Not sure how the folks are going to feel about Mr.
People
Seacrest.
don't turn in. They tuned in for Vanna.
Pat was fun. He was a good dude.
Pat was fun, but everybody tuned in for Vanna.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I will never forget that my father has said to me over time. But that's one of my dad used to just make that Vanna is a babe, just out of nowhere.
You really couldn't see her. Most of the shots, she's pretty far off.
But this is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because this is I remember this. That's at least one time specifically. We were in Wisconsin. It was in our house in Wisconsin. So I left there when I was 14. So that was almost 30 years ago when I left there. So sometime before then. And she's still a smoke show. She's still smoking hot.
Just kind of curious how the conversation went whenever they were like, "Hey, we're looking at these new technology where all you've got to do is walk over and hit a button. You won't have to actually turn a panel over or whatever."
I mean, I think they did a good job.
Well, yeah. When are you going to start doing that? All I got to do is walk over and go. Blink,
she got more and more
blink.
incorporated in the show as time went on. She used to not say anything and just sit over there and do her thing. And as the show went on, she would talk and do stuff. She started intro and commercials every once in a while too.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't the Wheel of Fortune conversation. I'm curious how some of these races ended out, because I think it'll be a strong indicator of whether or not Lee's voucher run is going to go this time, because he's definitely going to go back after it. And I think these are the ones. I mean, $4.5 million worth of effort.
Yeah, I recognize at least two names as incumbents. I think Terry Hatcher and John Lumberg are already in.
There's a little I that's next to him. So Chris Todd is a...
Oh, is that an incumbent? Okay.
Yeah. Farrell, Haley.
Littleton, I know is a name I've seen. John Reagan, yeah.
I wonder how many other Democrats... I wonder, like, it doesn't say what party they are. Like, we know Dasha was running in a Democratic primary. I wonder how many of those are Democrats.
I'd assume not too many.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. But anyway, like I said, my question is how many of them won? Because I know Nicely lost. Frank Nicely, I think his name is.
Secretary of State? Hargett.
No.
Oh, okay.
Nicely, who's been, I can't remember what, I can't remember where he's located. But he's been there forever. I mean, I guess I could try to reference these and go back and forth real quick. That's going to take forever now. That'll be no fun.
No.
But he beat Monica. That's good, though. There it is. Frank Nicely got beat in Senate 8, which is, I think it's south of us. I don't know exactly where it is, but anyway, he's been there for a while. Maybe that's the question. Jesse Steele, was Jesse Steele on another list? I think he was.
Nope.
Right there.
Oh.
Claiborne, Granger, Hancock, Jefferson, Sevier, and Union counties. So that's east, northeast of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they spent a bunch of money to get him to, but like Nicey's been there for a while, so that's not like a young incumbent that was like a fresh upstart. This is a perennial Republican that they primaried him out of there for vouchers. So, get ready, people. It'll be, yeah. Well, now I have the database to do my research. I'm not doing it. Sorry. I'm going to wait for somebody at Tennessee Lookout. Hey, Adam Friedman, write me a sweet article and I'll talk about it.
No, we'll talk about it.
I mean, but like I said, I think it's going to be a huge indicator because how many of them are going to be seats that are, more or less automatic wins for, they're Republican winner seats. Apparently there was no District 8 Democratic primary. So it's not like they're going to do whatever.
Hey everybody, this is Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs reminding you that today is Election Day, and Republicans countywide need your vote. The last few local election cycles, Democrats have made significant gains due largely to poor Republican turnout in the August elections.
We don't suck.
On the ballot
You suck.
today are primaries for U.S. Senate and U.S. Congress, important county offices, and maybe most importantly, our thin Republican majority on school board. Many of these elections will be decided by thin margins, and every vote counts. So please remember to vote today before 8 p.m.
Like I'm torn. That was our wonderful Mayor Glenn Jacobs with a public service announcement telling you to suck less and get out there and vote. Except if you're going to vote for the other team, but whatever. That fascinates me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. When you heard it, is that where your brain went? That's exactly. I went there immediately.
Kind of. My immediate thought was when he brought up the school board races. I was like, wait, I thought it was supposed to be nonpartisan.
No, this is the second cycle where partisan school board is the way it is. That is the law. That is the law of elections now for a school board. So yeah, that's not changing. But I don't know. Like what I hear him saying is, it's not that our candidates suck. It's not that our policies suck. It's that you guys suck for not coming out and voting for us. We would win if you would just do what you're fucking supposed to and come on here and vote for us.
Right.
And that is, and
you guys aren't coming out.
This was this is not unique to Republicans. Democrats have done that move too in other places, not locally, but you've heard that out of other top Democratic officials and previous things and stuff like that. Like Hillary Clinton won, except for if you guys would have shown up like you're supposed to.
It's your fault we don't have total control.
Right. And so...
If everybody would have shown up, we would have won everything.
Right. If everybody who didn't vote would have voted for us, well, sure. But it's a strong assumption that they would have voted for you. But, yeah, that closes our election coverage.
Everybody that didn't go and vote, you're the reason we lost.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes, technically. But I mean, again, like, I don't know, to me, it's like, what do you expect? Like, you don't do anything that gets people excited. And if you did something that's to get people excited in a bad way, they don't understand what you do. I actually was talking to Garrett Holt today. I was texting back and forth with him. He kind of jokingly asked who I voted for. I was like, I didn't vote for you, buddy. It really has nothing to do with you. It's I want the chaos. I want the extra Democrat on county commission. I think it's more technically accurate representative of Knox County at large. Plus, I think the party thing sucks, and I really extra hate your party right now more than the other one. But honestly, I was thinking about it, and I pulled it up, and I've since cleared my desk off. I pulled up a bunch of their flyers and stuff they sent me, other than like Garrett Holt's in real estate and development, stuff like that. Jackson is in finance and banking. They both have like 2 kids. Well, actually, I don't think Garrett has any kids, but he has a stupid dog. But Shane Jackson's got like a kid or 2, but they both want like responsible development and growth with whatever, and they want work on the infrastructure, and they want to be very careful about taxes, and they want to be, like they were not different candidates. There was nothing about either one of them that was like really not me, as maybe a better way to say it. Like neither of them screamed anything that made me excited to vote for them, but inversely, neither of them screamed anything that said I can't vote for you.
Yeah.
Except they both said the thing that I can't vote for you on, which they ran on school stuff, and I laid into about it. I mentioned to Scott and Owen today that we've been doing a segment on and off about we'll pull up Marsha Blackburn's Facebook or Twitter or whatever,
okay.
And Owen asked if her Twitter feed has done anything on the boxing. Have you heard the boxing story at the Olympics?
I just saw something on it.
I'm real confused on it, so I'm going to leave that alone. I was like, no. But I did lose my shit a couple weeks ago because she was proud of herself for making sure that Tennessee will never have an income tax. And Scott choked on himself laughing because it is in the state constitution of Tennessee that we will not have an income tax.
Okay.
You know who has fuck all to do with that? A federal senator.
Yeah.
From any state, let alone this state.
Yeah.
It's like we could do it. It's possible. And I guess there's theoretically like an ounce of potential truth from her mouth saying that maybe some people in back rooms were talking about how could we get an income tax in Tennessee, and she flexed on him and said, "Hey, if you even go public with that
Don't
at
even
all,
think about it. Like,
right?
I stopped it.
If you even pretend to go public with that, I will crucify you." And that's her statement of that's how she stopped income tax in the state of Tennessee. Like it's a constitutional amendment issue. You think the state of Tennessee is going to elect for more taxes as a constituency? We're going to ask for it.
Depends on what you offer in return.
Nothing.
Then no.
Then exactly. And so, yeah. Anyway, Marsha's an idiot, and I hope she loses, but. Wishing and hoping ain't getting nowhere. I forgot where I started that with, other than Marsha's an idiot. What?
Local? I was just trying to play back.
No. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we were wrapping our election segment and moving on. What else is going on?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen anything crazy locally.
Oh, we started with the boxer thing for a second.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's that wasn't local, that cop that shot that lady. That's a pretty crazy story. That's not local, though.
Chicago?
Nah, I thought it was Arizona or New Mexico or some shit. Anyway, the cop is clearly a psychopath, and he'd gotten fired from 2 or 3 police departments, and this one hired him. And
yeah, it's a little bit of a body cam. They even went back to I guess his military service record. So he had some DUI infraction while he was in the service. I think it was I don't know if it was a dishonorable discharge, but
I mean, the part that bothered me about it, like, and I haven't dug deep into it, but like, I think it was Nightly News was covering it for a minute, and they had played the 911 tape from the girl's mom. So the girl's having like a mental episode, and the girl's mom calls for help. But I think her quote was, "Don't send some dickhead cop out here who's going to get all crazy and aggressive because she's having a mental break."
Yeah.
And the 911 operator is like, "No, we don't have any crazy whatever. We don't have any crazy aggressive officers. We all were acting the same. We blah, 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 blah." And at least as I understand it, this kind of came out. He couldn't handle whatever crazy this lady was putting on, and so he shot her.
I read a little bit about the interaction, and I saw a tiny bit of the video. That apparently, like it's in the description of what happened. Like it was kind of like downplayed. Like they initially interacted with her, everything was kind of cool, and then I guess at some point, I don't know if her kind of mentality had changed, and I think she said something to them, like referencing like some biblical shit or whatever, like, God's gonna get you, or. Which kind of, I guess, like hearing that, it could be construed as a threat. I can't remember the exact like phrasing of it was, God's going to punish you, but it was something. It was a phrase that could be kind of like misconstrued as a possible threat. So it's in that kind of like weird gray area. But from all accounts, it does seem like he very much like overreacted. Like I think she was like cooking. I think that's what kind of like precipitated like the final interaction was like she remembered she had like a pot of boiling water on the stove or something, and like went to go like turn it off.
Right. He took that as she gonna throw boiling water at me. I don't know. The boxing story is I don't know. Apparently, there's some Filipino trans dude, but he's not really a trans dude.
No,
it's a chick,
like Algerian. I want to say.
Algerian, okay.
Which,
but I've heard
I saw something earlier. Like it's in a country to where being transgender is literally illegal.
I heard
kind of pushes back more on like, oh well, they've just find this transition. It's like no, like it's on that fucking birth certificate. Like they've been like playing a fool the whole time. Then I guess.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Somebody said it was like that this person was living as a man even though they were born a girl, and they're acting like a boy or whatever with their day-to-day life, but they had no actual surgeries or anything like that. I mean, you would think that...
I think there was something of like a previous competition to where they had tested for like levels of testosterone.
Right.
So that they think this person... I don't know, the video I watched earlier kind of mentioned, I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it's like a hormone, not deficiency, imbalance, basically. It is something that's rare, but I mean, there are people out there that are of a certain sex that have heightened levels of either estrogen or testosterone. That if you looked at just those hormone levels, you'd be like, oh, that's a man or that's a woman.
Yeah.
But that's one thing they look at because I think testosterone is also kind of used as a performance-enhancing drug. So I think that's one way they using that testing to see if you've been doping.
Right. Because, yeah, for a dude, like, that's kind of what my joke is to be. Like, if they've been on hormone treatments as a female transitioning to a male, testosterone is going to be part of that hormone treatment, which you're going to fail Olympic doping standards with a level of testosterone that's going to be in your system as a female.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine you could pass that.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a couple pictures of them, and I was like, I could see, that almost kind of maybe looks like that could be a guy, but, I mean, and a lot of these, especially with boxers and any kind of, martial arts sports, they've got them, like, tied back in, like, a tight bun or that big kind of padded face mask thing on.
Or their face is all disfigured because it's been punched 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those kind of things. I don't know.
Yeah, but apparently it got immediately jumped on because I think it was like I don't know if it was necessarily like the gold medal match because I think this person did get the gold medal match. This woman, presumably, got the gold medal. But apparently it was like 30, 45 seconds into it, and the other person was just kind of like, I'm done. They're kicking my ass.
Right. Got hit once and like, I've never hit that in my life.
Yes, and then I guess a lot of people jumped on that and was just kind of like, oh, it was somebody, this a man beating the shit out of a woman. This ain't fair. You know, they're doing this stuff on the international level.
I mean,
spreading their propaganda.
It's dumb. That and the Last Supper thing at the beginning, that's
funny. Everything that I've at least seen today, I don't know, maybe more shit will come out.
I haven't looked into it very hard. I really don't care.
Well, little I've seen is this is a person that passed Olympic trials and everything, like,
right, because they made a big deal.
It's not a man beating the shit out of women, but there were a couple people that jumped right onto it in this day and age of wanting to be the first person to be the social warrior.
Right. Well, Marsha's got one of her commercials with that Riley Gaines, I think her name is.
Was that the swimmer that lost?
You're right, to the dude thing and like whatever. But like that whole controversy and that whole mess and collegiate swimming and the Olympic committee was like, no, that person does not get to compete in the Olympics. That does not fit our standard or whatever it is. Blah blah blah.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, they're going to do that in swimming, but not in boxing. I feel like that would be a weird standard to set. That different sports they have different rules about trans athletes.
Right. No,
that makes zero sense.
Yeah, that'd be a standard across the board.
Right. That's what I would think. Or we could just do what I said, just get rid of all gender sports altogether and see how it goes. I mean, that is the logical solution to run it down, and then we don't have to have, the U.S. men's soccer team makes more than the U.S. women's soccer team arguments, and we don't have to make arguments about the men's basketball. NBA players make like 7 times more than WNBA players do. We don't have to have those conversations anymore. We just have one NBA, and the best in the world play in that league, and that's that. So I think it's a elegant solution.
Sure.
It's not. It's a hateful solution because it's just this is how ridiculous the shit's getting, and that's the point. The Last Supper thing, which I thought was stupid.
Yeah, I saw a little bit on that.
It's nothing. Like it's
some art installation that
it was like there is a French painting that a French master from hundreds of years ago did of a Bacchus orgy. Bacchus or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do Scott made this point earlier today. It's like, if you're ever going to do a dinner party painting, they're all going to look like the Last Supper. Because you're going to have one side of everybody's on one side of the table facing the camera, posing for the picture. So the basics of the picture are going to be the same no matter who the characters are.
Yeah.
Your central figure is going to be in the center, and they're going to be less important as they go out or whatever. But I don't know. It's again to me it almost feels intentional. Like they know where they know the U.S. audience is this dumb. They know we're in an election cycle, and it's like, hey, let's fuck with the American political system. Let's throw this in there and let them lose their shit.
I'd like to think it's not just the American public that was maybe throwing a pushback on this, but.
No, I don't think the American public cares at all. I think this is all a political.
Very touchy on religious subjects.
This is all a political. Like, it's all political and talking heads inside the political sphere. Like, no normal person's talking about it.
No, I thought it was just like anti-Christian talking points.
I mean, it's been a lot of politicians that are of the conservative right that I've heard it on, or like Fox News kind of people. Like, it's those people that are making a big deal. Like Lindsey Graham's of the world.
Is it like a poor depiction or like a?
No, it's like it was a bunch of drag queens that were in the costumes of the Bacchus painting, and so you had like a guy who was painted purple and fat and had like grape bunches like stuck to him all over the place. And apparently there was a Marie Antoinette, which was an awesome one because it was a headless lady and she was holding their head in her arm.
Yeah,
and like the way they did the costume or whatever was the actual person's head, and so they were like lip syncing or talking like they're supposed to be talking in it or whatever, and so it's the person talking, and you could tell that's a real head, and so but it was like a headless body, and it's make it like it was a Marie Antoinette joke and whatever. I don't know. I think it's a super. I don't know. I think the Russians and the Chinese are kicking our ass in getting us too involved in stupid shit and arguing over stupid shit.
Are they winning the disinformation war?
I think they are. I totally think they are. I think they know it. I think they know that we're susceptible to it, and they just feed it to us, and we eat it up. It's not like they're forcing it on us. They just throw out little treats and snacks there, and we just...
It's not that hard.
Just jump on it.
Throw out a little viral video, and be like, Americans eat that shit up.
So I was watching videos today for a little bit, and I saw a video. This guy did a very good explainer of the GameStop phenomenon. The short selling GameStop phenomenon. He actually explained how the short sale works. Because I never quite understood how the actual process of it worked.
I thought I did, but then I wasn't quite sure. I
mean, basically, what it comes down to, it's a lending scheme. So let's say if you owned 100 shares of a company, I say, hey, let me borrow those 100 shares, and I borrow those from you, and I go and sell them immediately, and you say, give them back to me in 90 days, and give me, I don't know, $1,000 interest, whatever. I say, okay. So my gamble is you let me borrow them, I go sell them, and by the time I need to buy them back to give them back to you, the value is going to go down enough that's going to surpass what my interest to you is going to be.
Right.
And so you lose a little bit, but you get some of your money back in interest. I make a bunch, and nobody else cares. But one of the things that's fucked up about it is that if you do it...
Wait. In that situation, you bought shares at a higher rate.
I didn't buy them. I borrowed them.
You borrowed.
Yeah, I borrowed them from you.
What is the purpose in that situation of you borrowing them?
Because then I don't have to buy them. Because I buy
How do
them.
you profit off of borrowing?
Okay.
Borrowing something that then depreciates.
Because I borrow it from you, right? Okay, let's go. You have 10 shares of stock, whatever the stock is, right?
Yeah.
I borrow those 10 shares from you. I say, hey, I'll give you $100 if you let me borrow these for a month. I'll give them back to you at the end of the month. You say, cool. I don't think the stock's really performing that well. Whatever. And so you let me borrow those shares. I immediately go sell those shares at $10 a piece. Right? So I take that $100 that I sold them for. This is a bad example. Let me say I sell them for $20 a piece, so I get $200 in my sale, right? I owe you $100 for the loan. I wait and let it drop to $2 a share, and I buy those 10 shares back at $2 a share for $20. Give them back to you. You have your shares back plus the $100 I promised you in collateral. I just took in the $200 from my original sale, paid $20 to get them back, and made $180. Paid you the $100, kept it $80. It's $80 profit to me. That's a really bad breakdown. I'm sorry.
That made me understand the GameStop thing.
Well, that's what they were doing.
They pretty much like hyped it up,
right? And so what the not unusual whales? What's the guy's name?
I guess they did they just start out buying like a shit ton and
right,
then hyped it up to make the...
Right, so what they did, so what happened with the GameStop one specifically is so these short sellers were doing that thing that I was just explaining. And the people that were buying them when they were borrowed were these online guys that was part of this thing that was happening. And so they didn't sell them a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later. So when you lent me those shares, and I promised I'd get them back to you in 3 months, 3 months later, I can't buy them. Well, what happens when you can't buy them? The price goes up. The price goes up, and the price goes up, and the price goes up. So at some point, I have to get you your 10 shares back, even if I have to pay $100 a share, as opposed to the 20 that I sold them for, because I have to buy them back to give them back to you.
All right.
And so basically, what these guys were doing, the internet people, whatever they were called, basically what they were doing is they were holding them and forcing the price up, and so other people that were not involved in it were starting to sell their shares because the price was going up. But they keep holding, and they were buying when they were getting sold in this as it was going up, and it's forcing the price up and forcing the price up and forcing the price up. So all these guys but the thing is that these guys that are doing the short sales are doing them at volume. Like it's not just 10, 20 shares; it's thousands and millions of dollars worth of shares with hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest that they have to pay on these the borrowings and stuff like that. And so these guys are needing to come up with $10, $15 million to buy the stock back, so that they can give it back to who they borrowed it from and then lose that money.
guess we can go on to something else, but
I mean, it serves them right. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great that these guys figured it out and they took advantage of the scam that was the short sale in the first place.
yeah.
I just like the explainer of how the short sale part worked. I didn't understand before today.
I guess I'm getting tripped up on the borrowing part of it, but
I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how that's okay.
Let me borrow some shares. Like, how does that work? Like, you either buy my shares.
I mean, it's an asset
I can't
like
let
an
you
asset.
just hold on to them.
It's an asset like any other asset. So,
I guess.
I mean, like legally speaking, it's it's an asset like a car or a house or cash.
I don't see where I'm incentivized to let you hold on to shares.
I mean, that is an interesting
in
question.
your name,
right? That group
that have valuation,
right?
That presumably is going to either go up or go down. If you're presumably going up, if you're wanting them to borrow them from me,
that one I do find interesting. That character in the conversation is an interesting one to me too. I think part of it is
if you think about that as far as like transferring those shares into someone else's account, that is then their funds coming in tied to those shares.
Yeah. And apparently also
in the market game as far as that valuation of shares going up and down.
Right. And apparently there's also something called naked shorts, which they don't even finish the paperwork on borrowing the shares and start and sell them, which I don't understand how that works. It's madness. The whole thing's crazy. It needs to be burnt to the ground. I hate Wall Street. I think it's the worst
I'll
thing
sell
ever.
you a car I just bought that I don't have the title for yet, but as soon as I get the title, I'm going to sign over that title to you. I promise.
Basically, yeah, that's a hell of an analogy. Good job.
Yeah.
I think it is a mess. I think Wall Street is a mess and should be abolished. And you know me, I don't like to say there should be a law against that. Well, maybe there shouldn't be a law against it, but there should be no federal governmental backstopping assistance, any of that stuff. Let them burn. If they screw up, if they screw the pooch, like the only thing the federal government should be involved in, it's like, no, you don't get to shut down the stock market because one stock's doing really bad today, which they did on the GameStop one, and they've done on a couple other ones. They
shut down the New York Stock Exchange?
Yeah, they've done it a handful of times, especially with some of this stuff, because like the market, the like certain markets aren't acting the way they're supposed to, and so they think there's something wrong, and so they shut down the exchange to halt sales,
right,
to freeze the price until they figure out what's going on. And it's really they're just forcing non-traditional players out of being able to play the game,
or preventing a free fall.
Right. To whose benefit though? Like, who loses if Microsoft drops off a cliff?
I mean, presumably a good bit of people.
I mean, people that have their retirements and shit in it, but if you've done your retirement well, you have it spread across 1,000 markets, and that's why Berkshire Hathaway is the way it is.
Right.
Like
diversified.
Right. Berkshire
But some people's money managers aren't diversified. They've hired a money manager to make investments for them.
Then that money manager should be, if they are liable for failing to do their duty as contracted, then they should be liable for it.
And I'm sure some of those contracts were like they made a valiant effort to, make more money than you gave them, but hey, we tried.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, that's the risk. Like that's
exactly. That's in that fine print. Is
sure, but that's
risks.
that's the risk for everybody. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why the federal government feels the need to try to protect any of it. Logically, I mean, it goes back to like the bailouts of the bank bailouts in 2008 and all the other stuff. Like, it makes zero sense to me. You made a terrible, 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 terrible choice as a bank. And what's more gross about it is you made a group of banks made the same terrible, terrible, terrible choice, but we're not assuming they're colluding, which is a crime. But they're all doing the same terrible, terrible thing at the same time, and then get caught and should be going bankrupt, but instead we, the taxpayers, bail them out.
All right.
While we, the taxpayers who bought these houses and stuff, are getting kicked out of our houses.
But I definitely think there should have been much more harsher penalties. But I do agree to an extent that we couldn't let them just fail just because those banks do hold a plethora of loans, and to just wipe everything out, I think could have possibly made things worse. It's hard to say.
I don't. I mean, I get where you're after, but the problem is that what do we learn from that experience? We learn that we don't have to be responsible as banks. We will get bailed out. We will get protected. We're too big to fail. That's where that phrase comes from.
Right.
Big Auto has done it. Like, it's the same thing with like this. Like,
I would like to think it would lead to us getting away from that and kind of the antitrust kind of era of finding that companies were that controlled large portions of the economy. That if they do go under, it has a way of fucking up a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, I saw an infographic on the breakup of Standard Oil and the reconglomeration, pretty much of all of it. It's now all down to like 3 companies, like all the 210, I think is what it was. Standard Oil was broken up to like 200 different companies.
I don't know.
And over the last 70, 80 years, whatever it is, 100 years almost, they've all whittled back down to like 4.
Yeah. It happens in a lot of industries. Is, kind of once you kind of gain that market power, in an effort to gain further market power, you buy up smaller players that are your competition.
Yeah, it's easier to buy and bury than it is to beat.
Right.
Oh, which is a bummer. That's a bummer. I hate that.
Is that the market working its way out?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question, because some of it's protected, some of it's obligated by law. Like when you get publicly traded, you're obligated by law. Like if you're like Elon Musk had gotten at least threatened with some stuff from the FCC for actions he had done with Tesla that were perceived as damaging to the company because
corporate decisions he had made.
Yeah, because as a controlling member of the board or whatever, he's obliged to maximize. Like he can be held civilly liable for making a decision that is not in the best interest of the shareholders.
Yeah,
like the fact that lawsuit concept even exists seems ridiculous to me. If you don't own the majority of the company, you don't get to make those decisions.
Yeah. Sad thing, I think I did just see a lower court judge overturned a higher court judge's decision that he was not entitled to something crazy. It was like $5 or $10 billion of like a share buyout or something. I think it was the shareholders that had brought the lawsuit against him. They were basically saying like
Tesla.
I don't think it was necessarily Tesla.
The boring company.
I mean, he owns a number of major companies.
I mean, the 4 big ones are Boring, Tesla, SpaceX.
I think it was his way. I don't know if it was like a stock like sell that he did, but it was because essentially all of his wealth is all tied up into the valuation of most of those companies. But it had to do with like a particular dollar amount, as I guess of what he was going to get paid out for the valuation of some of the shares for something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
If there was like a stock split or something recently, or he had sold shares, or had bought or traded shares.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know this. I
guess originally it got voted against him that no, he was not going to get that. Like it was, at least $5 or $10 billion. But then that got overturned, so I guess now he has rights to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that.
Yeah, I don't know how that level of wealth works.
I mean, to go back to your original question, maybe. I don't know. I mean, there is some that like I can understand the argument that if you let the free market roll, the consolidation is going to happen. Like that is a natural part of the market. But I don't know. At some point, and this has been my argument for a bunch of stuff,
where you differentiate consolidation versus monopolization.
Well, no, I mean, right. I mean, consolidation is the steps toward monopolizing. So if you had a Amazon would be an example where they're doing some pretty morally repugnant business moves where they're buying up companies instead of having to beat them, and stuff like that. But it's like, at some point there is people that have morals that will start companies that will go against them and refuse to sell to them, even when the offer's on there for some ridiculous number. When I guess Bezos isn't actually operations anymore, but when Bezos knocks on your door and says, "I'll give you $1 billion for your company," and you go, "No." There are people that would do it, and then Bezos has to figure out how to beat you the other way.
I think that would be a rare thing.
I'm sure absolutely, it's a rare thing. But at some point, when that number when the effort to buy and kill gets so expensive because somebody holds out for $2 billion, $3 billion, $4 billion, whatever it is that these companies hold out, like these different companies hold out for, especially if they're privately held and they're not publicly traded, because that's where it gets wonky. Like, I think that's one of those that you could definitely get sued for. Like, if I'm...
So I think it's more of like a buy or kill kind of in that.
It's buy and kill, or or you absorb. If there is something unique about it that you actually like, you'll bring it in and bring that unique part in and then burn the rest out.
Right.
But but it's buy and kill or kill. But they don't want to kill; they just want to buy and kill because it's easier than actually killing. It's easier to kill something you have control over than it is something you don't.
It's easier to just let something die as well.
Right, but if you have control over it, you can kill it off a lot faster than letting it die on its own.
Possibly.
Is the point I think I'm getting to. Because that's another one. Like that's one that I know exists. Like, if we had a publicly traded company that Bezos came to us and offered us $1 billion, and that would be a huge financial gain for us and our shareholders, and we said no, we could get sued for that by our shareholders.
Really?
Yeah, it is obvious and clear that this would have been a significant windfall for all of the shareholders, and you made a decision against our best interest. Even though you have technical legal control of this company, you are obliged to make us more money.
I wonder how you would prove that. Do you wait 6 months to a year? I mean, in the 6 months, we would have made this, or in the 6 months.
I don't know exactly how the damages work in that lawsuit, but something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's hard to prove a negative.
Right. And I mean,
it's
also...
this could have happened if we would have sold. It's like, maybe
right.
Valuation would have gone up if you would have sold, or if you would have bought this or sold that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not hard to say that, if it's an overvalued offer, like if you have 1,000 shares that are currently in the $20 range, so you have $20,000 in market value, and somebody comes in and offers you $1 million for all your shares to buy your company outright for $1 million,
right?
It's clearly a significant. It's a significant bump over value, and it's clearly value. It clearly would be value for your shareholders to make that sale. So it doesn't really matter what could have happened the day after you refused it or not.
What kind of lawsuit do they bring?
I don't know exactly how it works.
Oh.
But
that's a level I don't understand.
Right, but I mean...
how do you solicit donations or whatever, investments? It's like, hey, why don't you give me $500,000? But, a part of this clause, if I don't do well enough, you can sue the shit out of me.
No, I don't think it's that way. I think it's that if...
I'm assuming there's not a prenup or whatever for this.
I mean, it's right.
But I was kind of wondering on what grounds you can sue someone for...
The investment is a risk.
Not making
if the company fails, then you lose the money. Whatever, that's fine. That's the risk you take in the market.
I don't think you could sue either way. you lost money either way, whether or not they did make a decision. They could have made more money. I would think in that same line of logic, if you caused me to lose a bunch in my investment, I could sue you for that as well, even though you presumably just went bankrupt and I've got nothing squeeze out of you.
Yes, and you probably could try to sue for that, but you would have to prove some sort of intentional negligence in your operations.
I think you would have to prove that in the opposite also.
There was a public offer for 5 times the value of the company. That is my proof of a profitable exchange. I don't need to prove what.
So, like I say, it would more depend upon an immediate, I guess, large evaluation of that.
Well, that was what Elon was threatening or tried to back out. Like there was that whole back and forth with the contract for him to buy Twitter, and he was like, "Well, the deal was X, and X, no pun intended." The deal was this, but it seems to me that you have way more bots on this than you actually have. You say you have this many users, but you actually have this many users, just a different number. That you're being inarticulate, you're being intentionally vague about your membership, and that changes the valuation. And so you're trying to sue him for a change in whatever. But at the same time, it's like, well, Twitter didn't have to sell it to him. The previous board of Twitter didn't have to sell it, but they were under pressure because the valuation was I don't remember how it works. Whatever. Fuck, I don't know. Maybe I should shut up about this. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I know there's stuff that protects investors from not bad decisions, but decisions not to take immediate gratification for their investors. Like there is stuff that is civilly, you could have civil liability for not maximizing your shareholder profit when an opportunity is given.
Yeah.
I know that exists.
In my uneducated just kind of thought of it, I could see that going both ways. And that, you could be like, hey, I made this decision that has devaluated the stock, but I'm looking at the long game, a year from now, this will benefit us. Kind of wondering, could that person still be sued?
Yeah, it's like
could you push that lawsuit out and be like, I told motherfucker to give me a year, and then he would get his money back.
I took a huge loan and spent all of our cash reserves on research and development on a new product. When this new product comes out, it's going to make us gajillions of dollars. But you're acting like I was tanking the company, which front end, it looks like I am.
Right.
But we're developing this new big thing, and it's going to be the best thing ever. We're going to make all the money in the world. Oh, I don't know. This Turkish guy, he's might be my favorite. Have you seen this one?
No.
This is the Olympics pistol. There's a little bit of editing to that picture. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you've seen it, like to the rifle and pistol events at the Olympics. It's all 22s, and it's.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, even the archery, they have like all these bells and whistles. Like, it's like the archers have like these hats that have like these eye covers, and they have all these weights on their bow so that it does the whole like they're really complicated. They're non-functional. Like they're functional, obviously, but
I don't know if I've seen anything too crazy, but
like even like what's biathlon in the Winter Olympics where they.
So I was just kind of thinking of, I don't know what kind of like rifle they use in that.
It's a 22.
Because they've got to ski with it.
Right, but it's a 22. But they also have, a lot of them have that like their sight thing. And this guy is what this other picture is. It has like so you don't have to close your other eye. It has like a piece of plastic. So you have your one eye that goes down your sight, and then you have your other eye that has a piece of plastic over it, so you don't have to close your eyes. And it's just really funny because this Turkey dude's just t-shirt, sweatpants, standing up there shooting his gun, going about his business. I think he won the gold medal too.
It's just that good.
Yeah, I just like it's just funny because like that is not traditional look. Like for an Olympic pistol shooter, that is not what they look like.
All right, but how much was that picture altered? Was that literally his stance, though?
Yes, that was literally his stance. The cigarette and the beer were added.
Hand in pocket, everything.
Yep.
Oh, damn. He's like, I got this. This is how I practice every day.
Yep. So just go out there and shoot some shit. And hit, I don't know, 20 meters or whatever they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is not. The election took most of the energy out of me this week. I did go vote. I didn't see anybody at the polling place.
How easily can you track your vote?
What do you mean?
Do we have the ability to track our own votes?
I mean, I can go in a couple weeks and see my write-in.
Oh, okay.
It'll take a little bit of time. I'll have to ask Chris for it. If he doesn't usually send them out automatically, but I can ask Chris for the write-in list. Brian Hornbeck usually does a piece on the write-ins every cycle. But also, I'll go find mine.
I thought there was a way to track some votes.
They don't track write-ins unless it's an official write-in.
Right. I'm talking outside of write-ins.
You can't track yourself. I can't pull. I can't find my ballot by number and get access to it. No, nobody gets to know that. Chris Davis doesn't even get to know that. I mean, technically, since I'm assuming I'm the only person that wrote in my name for a thing, you could find my ballot in the paper ballots. Because the paper ballots go into a box and they go on file.
So after this election, how do the parties get that information?
They know that I pulled a Republican primary.
That's all they can know.
They know that I went and voted. But they don't get to know who I voted for. Yeah, they don't get...
Well, no, they're able to pull up because they pulled up against... sorry, what's his name? Like, 2 election cycles ago, you voted for a Republican.
Right.
Or you voted for a Democrat.
Because I pulled up I pulled the Democratic primary that time. That's
So
the only
the
way
polling data only goes off of primaries as far as party affiliation.
Right. They cannot... It is not public information who I voted for. Nobody gets to know that except me and, I guess everybody, because I told everybody who I voted for. But As far as on paper, I could lie and you can't prove. The people I told you I voted for could be a lie because you can't prove. You can't prove it. You could technically prove it, like I said. You could find my paper ballot because my name is on it because I wrote myself in. And I guess technically, even if I hadn't written myself in, you can go through the paperwork because it says what ballot number I have on my sign-in sheet. Like when you go sign in, they you give a little half piece of paper, you write your name on it, you take it over to the person, they sign something, and then you go over to another person, and then they take that little half sheet from you, they write your ballot number, and they put that half sheet on file and give you your ballot. And so, yes, technically, they're capable of finding my ballot without my name on it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe they're allowed to do that. I don't think there's any process on the planet where you could go to the courts and be like, I want to find out who this guy voted for. Make the election commission find this person's ballot and show it to me. I don't think that's legal. So did you hear the Trump at the Black Journalists Convention?
Yeah, saw a little bit of it, yeah.
That's crazy. Just before even the Trump part of it, the fact that Trump did it's crazy in and of itself. Seems like a not ideal audience for him.
Odd thing for him to sit down at.
But the before even he started talking, there was crazy. Because, at least according to him, it was supposed to be him and Kamala. Miss Harris was supposed to also be a part of this thing. And the Harris campaign said, no, she can't physically be there, but we could Zoom it in if you guys want. And they said, no Zoom, in person only. And I guess when they had talked to the Trump team, they told Trump that she was going to be there, and that's part of why he agreed. And then they said,
"That's bullshit."
They don't. You don't think?
I don't think that he was under any preconceived notion that both of them were, because that would have been a big, huge thing. Because that would essentially almost be like a debate at an event.
So he was lying about the fact that they told him that Kamala was going to be there? Because I haven't heard anybody deny that part.
Don't know.
Okay. Either way, he claims to be under the impression that she was supposed to be a part of it, and then they start like 35 minutes late, and he was a really bitch about that. That was kind of funny. And then the first question was really gross.
It's like, all right, bring that up once, but okay.
But like, I don't know. I don't know what he expected. I don't know what anybody expected of it. My own takeaway, the take that I thought was interesting, and it goes on to my, which in a very Trumpy, terrible version of it, he is making my point that I was making about Harris last week, is that she is a chameleon. She has no consistent record on anything. She changes her stances on items as the political winds see fit. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. At least if you could own the fact that it's like, hey, if this is what you guys want, this is what I'll do. But that's not really her game. It's like, this is what seems popular right now, so I'm going to jump on board on this thing, and then it's not popular anymore, and so I'm just going to kind of step away from that, and then I'm going to go over to this thing and that thing. He did it in a very racial way, which was not cool, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
I mean, she was like, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, I could see it as in a stand-up bit and being like, okay, that's like, if you took it out of that particular context and put it somewhere else, I could see that being a funny. Like, you could put that into a pretty funny, like, stand-up bit.
Maybe yeah.
You'd have to be very careful with it. You'd have to be very careful and very specific. But it'd be like, you know, I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, you could do it. Like, you could do it in a white version. Like, you know, like, how many actual Irish Americans are there? But fuck every single one of them.
It'd have to be pretty obvious. Like, your target would have been going around, you know, dressing up as, you know, a stereotypical version of something. And also doing the opposite.
Like, how many white
people...
people...
pull up a joke, like, it's got to be... you got to be referencing...
It's not the opposite.
Like
it's just a different...
Well, you got to be referencing
a different subset.
An exclusion to the norm, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm saying, like the white...
A gross... You would have to be, yeah...
The white dude example, it's like it would be like Kamala Harris is like white dudes on St. Paddy's Day. Everybody's Irish.
No,
because that's the day where you pretend to be Irish, even if you're not.
Right.
And his point was, well, she's black when it's advantageous to be black. She's Indian when it's advantageous to be Indian. Indian?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had a moment where I was like, did I just say something real stupid? But yeah. So it's Indian, Cuban, Jamaican. Which, you know, I don't know. I don't really care about that part of it. I do care about the fact that she has no conviction. Like, I get no sense of anything that means anything to her. She's just a political figure and goes where the wind blows.
Who landed free flowing?
Who landed?
I read one article that talked about, I guess, some of her kind of prosecutor and attorney general, but some of those I think were pretty kind of like tight calls anyway, or I could see her going either way on it, and kind of flip flopping some of trying to be. I've seen some like pointing to her, you know, tough on crime, but then soft on other crimes.
Yeah,
which some of that I can see. It's softer on certain crimes, but harder on other crimes. You could hammer her on either one. Be like, oh, you're soft on crime. It's like, well, yeah, I was soft on, like...
simple possession. Who cares?
Yeah. But yes, I was harder on, like, more violent crimes.
Ooh, excuse me. Pardon. That was grody. It was deep and basic.
So, yes, in doing that, you can be hammered on both sides.
I don't know. We'll see. Like, it's kind of weird because, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting to see how this rolls out. Like, I've had a couple of ads pop into my phone about donate now. We need you now. Like her asking for donations. But I haven't really heard. I know she's done out and making a few speeches and done a few campaign rallies and stuff like that. But, you know.
She broke at least one record so far.
Yeah, she did like $200 million in like a weekend.
I think it was for month of July.
Oh. But yeah, she was only the candidate for a week of July.
Yeah.
A week and a half.
Well, she set a record, I think, for like last weekend.
Gotcha. I will take
I think she set a record for like monthly or whatever as well.
I will go ahead and put a huge prediction out. If she wins. Because one of the few things that she has been consistently running on since this started was bodily autonomy, if you will, a pro-choice position. I will put this prediction in play right now. If she wins in her first term, at any point in her presidency, whether she gets a second term or not, she will not get a federal pro-choice whatever into law. She will not codify Roe v. Wade, if you will.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think she'll try, or you don't think she would be able to?
I don't think she will actually try. I think there might be some feigned trying, and there'll be the Republicans won't even, whatever, this, that, and the other. But I don't think there'll be a real effort.
Possible.
Because I don't think, if it comes down to what's good for them, is to keep it the way it is, because it's great for their political wins. They get more wins this way.
Yeah, I guess parties have been running on it for a couple decades now, so I guess they could continue that fight.
You could look at. We can go back to 2022 midterms, and the damage that Trump did to the party at large by his Supreme Court packing, for lack of a better word, was palpable on this topic specifically. Like, there were race after race after race that
did the Republicans have a majority in the House prior to 2022?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember. No. Yes.
I didn't think they did.
Pelosi was Speaker. Who was Speaker before McCarthy? Was that Pelosi immediately preceding him?
Pelosi, but I think McCarthy came in 2020.
And then the 2024 was when the crazy 15 ballot one was? To continue McCarthy as Speaker? When was that? 22?
No, that was like last year.
So it was 23 after the 22 cycle people got in.
It was 2022, so maybe Republicans took over and...
I don't know. Anyway, what's the point of that question on the abortion topic? The Republicans having the ability to stop it?
No, I don't remember where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure where you were going with it either. I just don't think it's like, I think for Republicans at large, the overturning of Roe v. Wade was super damaging to their political futures.
Oh, that's where I was thinking, yeah. The overturning, and then that leading into the elections. That then it went from Republican to Democrat House.
Well, no, it went from...
I didn't think overturning went from like a...
It went from Republican to a barely Republican winning House. But there were a lot of seats in play, and apparently, traditionally, the midterms are usually bad for whoever the president's party is.
Right.
And like comparatively, in comparative elections in the past, presidential midterms have always gone against the president in power significantly, and only went a little bit against Biden. Because and argumentatively, and I would say factually, but argumentatively at least, because, and it was a timing thing too. The Dobbs decision came out right in the middle of that campaign cycle in 22. Like summer of 22 is when it came out.
Yeah, I think it was summertime.
And so you were in the middle of all the primaries, and like it was a couple of weeks ago this time in 22 when everybody was in full, flyer campaign, advertised TV, radio commercials, all that shit was in full swing. And so the Democrats got to go, "Whoop, get me in there so we can overturn this mess." And it worked in a lot of places. There are a lot of places that a lot of like long-standing political analysts are like, this is a seat that'll flip, this is a seat that'll flip, this is a seat that'll flip, to the Republicans that didn't.
But there are also a lot of political analysts that were saying it was going to be a red wave.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a red wave because the Dobbs decision.
Oh, okay.
It would have been a red wave if that didn't happen.
They're calling for it even after that.
They were
it was more just like the political landscape, like outside of the Dobbs decision.
right, and they thought it was, but they didn't. But the actual red wave never came. Is the point when they actually came down to election day, the abortion decision was so major that at least places where it's possible to swing, it swung in the Democrats' favor. And so anyway, I don't think like if you're Harris and you win and you are the president, there is no political value in actually changing the law on that. Because people don't elect you for what you did, they elect you for what you're going to do next term. And if you've already did the thing, what am I voting for you for?
I can see it to an extent, but eventually you're going to be like, hey, you've been running on this for this long. You haven't even inched closer to it.
I mean, Republicans have been running on ending abortion since the 70s. And they didn't inch near it until Trump came in. I mean, it has been a Republican core issue from the jump.
I thought Dobbs was 70s.
No, Dobbs was the 22 one that overturned Roe v. Wade from the 70s. 60s? 70s, whenever. Forever ago. Before I was alive. I don't care.
Right. I thought Roe v. Wade was like 73, maybe.
Something like that. Yeah, but the Dobbs is the current one. Anyway, that's my bold prediction for the Harris presidency, if she wins it, is that she will make no actual, real, full-hearted effort to do anything about it. Nor will any other Democrats, for that matter. Because I think that's the mastery of Trump not being a politician. He was too dumb to know better than to actually do what he promised. That's where he fucked up.
Yeah, give me another shot. I can do it again. Just give me another shot.
I mean, he's honestly, to be fair, I think he's right. I think I don't like the way Tennessee does it, but unless Congress wants to go through an amendment process, then I think this is the correct answer. I think it is a state decision, and I think when it gets to interstate commerce stuff, when we get to the mail-in, the traveling to get one, or the order whatever medication by mail, that's an interstate commerce clause, and that's a federal thing. The travel one, there's period. Like, if I want to go to Virginia, I can go to Virginia. That's none of why I go to Virginia is nobody's business. Can't stop me.
Until they make a state law that says if you help a constituent of this state go to another state.
I mean, the only way they're going to be able to get anything like that on the books is that it'll be some sort of civil lawsuit. They can't make it a crime.
Didn't they just do that?
If it's a minor.
Okay.
And even in that, the I don't understand how that, I can't fathom the practical application of that law. How can you practically say, well, your parents said you could go with this person to Virginia, and you went to Virginia. The parents aren't complaining about, It's like if I took one of my kids' friends with us to the beach one year, some completely unrelated person that doesn't know us at all could have some sort of pushback on me taking a minor that isn't under my tutelage across state lines. I don't understand that at all. It doesn't matter what I'm doing at the beach. If I'm not breaking the laws of the state that the beach I'm at, what are we talking about here? I don't even know if you could federally, I don't even know if federally that would be legal to stop people from crossing state lines with a minor who isn't under your guardianship. It doesn't matter why you're going. How could you possibly make that argument? Unless that minor is going without permission of their parents. Which does it does fall into logic. Like, so some girl's 15, gets pregnant, doesn't want to tell her parents, tells her teacher, and her teacher gets some other adult to take her to Virginia. But then it's kidnapping. Well, you don't need you don't need a special law for this. They kidnapped your child. I don't care if the child went willingly. It's still kidnapping.
I was trying to think of like an off-the-wall situation. Say like marriage was legal at 16 or above in a neighboring state, and you took someone to go get married.
It's kidnapping. And then that would be fruit of a crime.
Yeah, the permission to take that, I guess, that minor to another state. You didn't necessarily have permission to let them get hitched.
I would still, if I'm the parent.
But they were legal in that state to get hitched.
So we're talking about, so an 18-year-old takes a 16-year-old to Kentucky to get married. The parents say you could take my 16-year-old with you to Kentucky to do whatever, which doesn't necessarily include marriage or whatever. I don't know. Because, again, the burden of proof and stuff like that, no, you didn't have my permission to take my, like, I would lie at that point and say, no, you didn't have my permission to take him. So that marriage is annulled because you kidnapped my child and took him to Kentucky to get married. It would be a little bit of a lie. Unless kind
of the weird laws of, I don't think a parent necessarily has to give permission for a, I guess, minor to be wed. So I don't think you as the parent would have anything to really sue upon. Unless they were taken without their permission, which that would be kidnapping.
Right, and unless somebody
they had your permission to take them out of state.
And unless they took the time and energy to get my permission in writing, I would just say they kidnapped my kid. I didn't give them permission to take him there. And so anything that happened while it was there was part of the crime of kidnapping. What?
So the only thing to make this illegal would be you lying to the police and that they didn't have permission.
If that's the fine gray area they're going to play with in this weirdness, yeah. So like, okay, let's put it
really like playing.
Okay,
in the gray area. It's legal in one state. It's
right.
Illegal in another state.
Right. Okay, so let's put it in a little bit more of a direct, logical gray area. Let's say I had a 15-year-old daughter, and she gets knocked up. She doesn't tell me about it, and she goes on a trip to Virginia with a friend and her parents. And I gave permission for them to go to Virginia on that trip. And I find out in the process that she got an abortion while she was there. And let's say that I am like hardcore anti-abortion in this process. And I am beyond enraged at the fact that my kid was pregnant and got an abortion and was taken across state lines. Yeah, I couldn't imagine anybody who would be in the functional position that I'm in not saying, no, they did not have my permission to take my kid there. I would just, you criminally stole my child. That would be my, who cares? Yeah, I would lie about that.
Okay.
I think most people would. In the argumentative point of that, I gave them permission to go to Virginia for a volleyball tournament, not for an abortion. Because that was what they told me they were doing. Okay, fine. And legally speaking, okay, let me back up a second. Legally speaking,
I'm just trying to I'm trying to hash out.
Legally speaking,
factual. Okay, legally speaking.
Okay, legally speaking, my kid.
Not like I lied to make this okay.
My kid wants to go to Virginia with her friend to a water park. I don't know if there's one ever.
I'm sure there's a few.
Let's go. I've been to one actually. I don't know anything about it. So, Massanutten Water Park in Western Virginia. They want to go to. They tell me they're going to go up there for a weekender and go to the water park and have a good time. And they pitched this to me, and the parent says that's what they're doing and whatever. And they go up there, but don't go to the water park, or do go to the water park, but get an abortion in the process and then come back. I find out about that. I'd still think I could argue kidnapping. It's like, okay, yes, I gave them permission to go to Virginia to go to this water park. I did not give them permission to go to Virginia to do that and that and that.
That does not define kidnapping, though.
I still think maybe that's not technically kidnapping, but I still think there's got to be legal precedent for that. You don't have free reign over my child just because I gave you permission to take them to do a specific thing. You said you're taking them to do this, and that's not what you did. Or that's only part of what you did.
Did they do something illegal in that state?
Doesn't matter.
That's what's going to factually matter, whether or not they did something illegal in the jurisdiction of the territory in which they are committing said offense.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay, we'll get our legal scholar that won't have any answers for us on the show to break this one down. I don't think so. I'm
pretty sure it has to do with the offense that is or is not committed within that jurisdiction of where those laws reside.
I don't think that's accurate. I really don't. I'm going to agree to disagree on this one. I think that if we have an agreement on what you're doing with my kid out of state, and you do something different than that, then I think that I would have some legal recourse for that.
You could possibly go after, like,
again, this is a civil suit.
Contributing to the delinquency of a minor, but, I mean, outside of that.
All right. I'll see if we'll have to get a lawyer on this one because I don't know the technical terminology. There's enough fucking laws out there that we can make one stick. Yeah. I guarantee you.
Well, I think just about any lawyer would be like, it's going to depend on where it happened, what the exact laws are regarding that.
I don't think it. I think I fully disagree that the where it is matters.
That's the most important part of where it happens.
No, it's not.
It is.
Not with a minor, it's not.
It is.
No.
Because you have to go off the laws of that area. It has nothing to do with where you came from.
It's not, okay, again, it's not criminal that the kid did the thing. If we're sticking on the abortion thing, it's not criminal. I couldn't, like, go to some weird thing of saying that that it's criminal that they let my kid get an abortion. But I could say that, I don't think it'd be criminal anyway. It'd be a civil lawsuit, and that's the way Tennessee's going to write a half of its shit anyway. I think I could have a civil argument for damages that would stick because you took my kid to Florida and told me you were taking him to Disney, but you took him to Universal, and Universal sucks.
Possibly civil, but definitely not criminal.
I think. I think
that's where I was looking at. It's more like the criminality of it.
I think
is that was it a crime? That it was not a crime in that locale in which this was done.
I still think there's.
So you can't prosecute, or you can't say someone did something illegal in an area in which it was not illegal.
I mean, I guess you could argue a fraud charge because they told you one thing and did something different. That would be a fraud case, and that can be criminal. I was defrauded by my kid's friend's mom.
Maybe.
Good
luck with it, but
all right. Again, I think we need to get a better lawyer to come hang out. Because sorry, Jamie, this is not a topic for you. I think there's a case there. Whether a DA would bring it up or not, because of the difficulty of it, that's a separate conversation. But I think there's law there that would make it functional.
I think it would be a hard burden of proof on your case.
I mean, it would be a hearsay. I mean, it would be
exactly. You would have to prove that you were completely misled as to.
Sure, I agree with that. That they told me this is what they were doing, and that is not what they did. That would be a hard case to prove. Yes, right. But I think there's. I don't know. I think that exists. I think law in the books already exists on that. Anyway, moving on. What else you got?
What else did I see going on lately?
Ooh, assassinations. Catch any of those?
So, was it the leader or one of the leaders of Hamas?
It was a Hamas.
General, maybe.
Right, and then what's the other one?
There was two.
There's three. One of them was in Tehran at the inauguration of the new president of Iran.
I thought I just saw one. Dang.
Like within a mile or so of the presidential residence in Iran.
Yeah.
I don't remember which guy that was exactly. And so you have Hamas. What's the one out of Syria or Lebanon? What's the other group?
Hezbollah.
You got Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran all, and one more. No, maybe just 3. Promising retaliation on Israel for these actions. Which is a problem. Because we've already said, don't do it.
Oh, the Houthis? 'Cause I think Israel had attacked the Houthis.
Yeah, we got a yeah, you might be right. I can't remember exactly. But, yeah, this is getting scary. Scarier. Because now we have Iran directly involved. For the second time, actually, now. That drone strike thing.
Drone strike.
Yeah. Israel flew some drones in and blew some shit up. Nothing important, nothing special.
Yeah.
And then Iran dropped, sent a bunch of missiles in, and the dome, what it's called?
Iron Dome.
Yeah, the Iron Dome got 90% of them, and they were proud of that. And Iran's like, yeah, we told you it was coming, and we only sent this many, and some of them still got through. Wink, wink. And so, what's Iran's response this time?
So it actually has some kind of hope in that they had this new election, and it seemed like there was a less hardliner that had gotten elected.
And for Iran?
There's still hope, yeah, in Iran.
I don't know. I mean, the Ayatollah is all that matters. And he hasn't changed. The supreme leader.
All right.
Which apparently the guy that died was supposed to kind of be the replacement for the Ayatollah. Not this guy, the helicopter crash one.
Right.
Who was supposedly being groomed to be the new Ayatollah. Is that the right word? Am I saying the right word?
Yeah. But I think that's more like the religious leader, but it's still kind of / head.
I mean, from my understanding of it, that is the dictator of Iran.
Yeah.
And they have this whole kind of dog and pony show election thing that they do. But they really don't do anything. It all goes through the Ayatollah. Everything goes through the Ayatollah. So you get elected president and you go, hey, man, is it cool if we do this? And he's like, nope. You're like, yes, sir.
Okay.
Because if you say, well, screw you, I'm the president, I'm doing it anyway, you end up dead. So I'm scared to death. There's going to be some more dead bodies piling up all over that place.
It's very possible.
So, yeah, there's that.
Thought I saw one other crazy thing in the elections. But
what elections? Our elections?
Our elections. Probably nothing too crazy.
Local?
No.
And we're still waiting on the VP pick. Which is apparently that Shapiro character is the top of the list right now.
I think Kamala said she'll announce Tuesday.
Is that what it was? I thought it was over the... I couldn't remember. I knew it was soon.
So it's funny, in the past week, I've seen a couple things of Trump's going to pick a different VP. He's about to, kick Vance to the curb. And I'm like, hell no, he ain't. I mean, it would look horrible as a party for them to be like, okay, never mind, we're not going to pick JD, we're going to pick somebody else.
I mean, it looks horrible when you pull your nominee off the ticket.
Oh, definitely.
In the middle of the summer, so.
Definitely.
But
that was also in the case where didn't have full support, I would say. I mean, you could argue the Democratic base had a big resurgence once they finally picked somebody else. I was like, okay, finally. We didn't want to say it, but damn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, there's a big resurgence once they got him off there.
Right.
I mean, so much that what I would consider a terrible candidate in Kamala Harris is very super exciting people and popular.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, I could get the complaint from the Republicans. I really can. It's a fair complaint in the sense that, we had built a program and we designed a campaign to run against that guy. And, I mean, literally, DNC's next weekend?
I think so. Week or two out, yeah.
Right, and at least at the time, they were talking about doing the actual nomination process virtually before the DNC.
I think they did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Or formalized it or whatever.
Right, and so they were already, at least to the Trump, or to the Republicans in the Trump campaign, this was done. Like this is we'd spent a lot of time, energy, and effort on building a campaign around our guy beating that guy, and then in the 59th minute, you guys pulled a swap out on us. And so I could see the argument. I could see it playing out, and I could see it not really fucking mattering if he threw J.D. Vance off and put somebody else on the ticket. Yeah, does it look bad? Yeah, do you think Trump cares? No.
Probably not.
And really, Charles Trump's like, hey, they switched their starter at the last minute. I'm just switching my backup. Who cares? Yeah. Which, I mean, that's already the point he was making in a couple of different things. Anyway, it's like the vice president doesn't matter. It doesn't matter electorally. Like you go back and you look at the history of it. Like the most, like I think he said it. I think it was the black journalist thing. Is that like the only vice president, in his opinion, that really truly mattered was Kennedy's Johnson, LBJ.
Yeah,
and it's not because he took over when Kennedy got assassinated. It's because LBJ flipped Texas to Kennedy.
Sure, definitely helped, yeah.
I mean, because even back then, Texas was a big state with a lot of people and a lot of electoral votes. And like that was I believe, I don't know, but that was the take that a couple of people that I'd listened to talk about it were saying.
I don't know how tight that election race was.
It's like he picked
LBJ helped him bring Texas, and that's what put him over the edge. But I think Kennedy was pretty well liked going into the elections, but I could be wrong.
I don't know what the Electoral College was on that one. But that was the take of a couple of people that were analyzing that statement. And it's like, this may be generous to Trump to think that he would know that piece of history. And it may be Trump just saying it because he took Kennedy's place after the assassination, and the assassination's fresh on his brain, and blah, 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 blah. But if you get to the electoral part of it, it was a huge deal that Kennedy won Texas.
Yeah, it could have been a nice little two-parter.
Yeah,
to get people on both ends, the people that recognize that of the assassination part of it, but also that there was a policy part of it.
I mean, the question on the VP conversation without Biden in the race, and I mean, I guess a little bit with Trump still in the race because of his age, but the traditional move on the VP pick is you bring somebody in that makes people more comfortable. That would be the Biden on the Obama ticket. You bring somebody in that brings some demographic into play that you may not have as strong of a feel as you want. That'd be Pence with the evangelicals for Trump, right. Or that'd be Harris with blacks and ladies, or Biden's pick of Harris with black females or people of color and females, bringing that pick into play. You go back further than that, like VP picks are from states that are swing states or have some need for a little bit of a bump for you from against the other or whatever. Like, it's generally speaking, that's the play.
Why'd Bush pick Gore?
Bush didn't pick Gore. Clinton had Gore.
Oh, sorry, Clinton Gore.
Which is still a good question. But Tennessee back then was actually I don't know if it was a swing state, but I think Tennessee was a blue state back then, actually.
Might have been a little bit more of a swing state. So it wasn't that long ago we had Phil Bredesen as governor.
Right.
Or we had a
Tennessee might have been a blue state back then. I don't know. I could ask my boy Matt. Matt Shearless loves him some Al Gore.
He's probably got some stats.
He could stat that out. I do keep dogging him every time I see him on Facebook talking about Knox County elections. Like, get the fuck out of here. Go back to North Carolina. Leave us alone. Damn Tar Heels. That might have been racist. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that if it was racist. All right, bring me some news, buddy.
Oh, what we got here?
I don't know. That's why you bring the news.
Pandemonium hits Paris.
Pen?
Pin. P-I-N.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Oh, real quick. Have you seen the medals?
I don't think so.
Apparently, I guess they did some work on the Eiffel Tower in preparation for this, and they replaced.
Oh yeah, they're parts of the Eiffel Tower.
I don't know if that was like. I don't know if it was like intentional when they did it, or I don't know exactly. But yeah, there's like.
Yeah, it was intentional.
There's like a little. Well, I know it's intentional on the metal, but like I don't know if it was. They intentionally did the remodel and used the old steel. I don't know where the steel came from exactly off the Eiffel Tower, but that's cool.
Yeah. Did see that.
That's pretty legit. All right, anyway, pandemonium, people. I already did it once.
Sorry.
All right.
On the other side of the Atlantic, from Wall Street, a market more wholesome than cutthroat has sprung up: the Paris Olympics. The commodity at the center of it all, pins. The city has seen an influx of collectors from all over the world, each eager to begin or expand their Olympic pin collection and share their stories. People are weird to trade. Human beings, we want to trade. In life, you cannot exchange, you die. If you cannot exchange, you die.
Man, that's heavy.
Let's see here. Do you have any pins? A Starbucks barista asked every journalist who comes in for coffee at the Palais des Congrès, the Olympics main press center. Let's see here. You get a real feel for the craze this year. So I guess there's pins.
Yeah, that's a thing. They've talked about that at many Olympics.
Yeah.
I've seen that story numerous times. Like, there's a bunch of different
pieces
places
of art.
Like, that was always the thing when, I can't remember, there was a summer camp that UT used to host for engineer kids. I think it was a middle school, high school thing. And they'd always come in and they'd be trading pins with each other. Pins are cool. Pins. Fun little cool collectible. All right, one more.
Let's see here. Okay. A move to limit fowl in Iowa's Capitol X residents on to protest with a chicken parade.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again?
A move to limit fowl.
Limit.
Limit.
Not eliminate, limit.
Limit.
Okay.
To limit fowl.
Okay.
In Iowa's Capitol Eggs residents on to protest with a chicken parade.
Capital Eggs? Is that a brand company?
No, it's not capitalized.
Okay, one more time. Hold on, let me get my head.
Let's see here. Residents with backyard co-ops in Iowa's capital city paraded with some of their chickens Monday from Iowa Steakhouse to City Hall after local officials ruffled their feathers by proposing stricter limits on raising birds in residential neighborhoods.
Okay, so they were trying. The city was trying to. Okay, they're trying to say you can't have a backyard chicken coop.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
They said chicken march.
Yeah. Got a couple people that hatched the protest after.
Oh, God damn it, they're good.
After the city unveiled a proposal to limit foul play.
Yeah, that's not as good. The hatch supply.
The foul play is pretty good.
Yeah, but they already did foul on the headline. You can't reuse them anyway.
And potential noise, smell, and mess. The proposal would cut the number of birds allowed from 30 to 12. But also ban roosters.
All right, city of Knoxville bans roosters. County, you can have them. We got a couple out here. Actually, I think the couple that we have out in this neighborhood are in the city. Oh, here's something I learned. Go ahead. We'll finish this story and I'll tell you.
So you think so? That was the end of it.
Yeah, city of Knoxville bans roosters. County, you can have one.
Now, something that was passed not too long ago. So I want to say they amended it to allow chicken raising inside city limits.
Yeah, you can have hens, but you can't have roosters.
How is that what it is?
And so I don't know exactly how that works because you need to have a rooster running around to get them to lay the eggs. They don't just lay eggs.
I think so.
Or maybe they do, and you just have the rooster around if you want to turn them into, if you want to breed chickens.
I don't know.
Yeah. I also don't know. I do know I have a friend of mine who's moving and needs somebody to hold her chickens for a couple weeks while she finishes her move to her new place and gets her new coop set up. So if anybody has wants to take in some orphan chickens for a week or so, let me know. I learned this week, everybody should know this. Everybody should know this. I don't want to say this because I don't want anybody to do it because it annoys the shit out of me. Anyone and everybody in the city of Knoxville with a simple permit can sell or solicit donations on any intersection in the city of Knoxville with a simple permit. So you can go down to the city county building, fill out a piece of paper, and you can go sell some shit on the corner of any corner you want in the city of Knoxville.
Just gotta have that permit.
Mm-hmm. And that sucks. I really hate it. We have a group that likes one of our intersections right here in the end of the neighborhood, and it annoys the shit out of me. It sucks for traffic. It sucks. It slows shit down, and it's also it's the same family. That's what bothers me about it. And it's like 2 weekends in a row they'll be doing it for one AAU, this, that, or the other, and then like another weekend later, another 2 weekends later, it'll be a different fundraiser. But I got full Karen on them and called the cops and learned that they're there legally, so I got to shut my mouth. So we'll go from there. Anyway, we're all done.
Most of the agreement.
almostagreement@gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Check out what's going on. Hollerboo 24 is upon us. Register today to race your derby car down Central with us and or be a vendor. Come sell your wares. Bitching about other people selling shit. Come sell your wares there. I mean, hell, you could just pull a permit and do it anytime you wanted to. Technically. I should try that. Anyway, go to your favorite podcast provider. Hit us up. Tell us what's up. We will be back next week with more exciting things that are happening. School's back. Thank fucking Jesus. Can't wait to get in the grind and get back to the normal life schedule for things with school in session instead of this madness that we've been living through we call summer. So hope everybody had a great summer, and I hope everybody got out and voted yesterday. I bet you didn't, because I know you didn't. And we'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.